wife and best friend. Mom's birthday party was the day I found out everything and my life changed forever. I am Timothy, 32 male, and my wife Audrey, 30 female, were married for 3 years. My best friend Ryan, 32 male, and I have been friends since we were kids. Never imagined I would need to post on our relationship advice, but here we are. To be honest, I'm still reeling from everything that happened and just need to get this out and maybe get some perspective from you all. So let me give you some background. Audrey and I met in 2018. It was one of those instant connection things, you know. We just clicked. She is beautiful, smart, funny, and we had so much in common. We started dating and things moved pretty fast. Within a year we were living together, and 2 years after that, in 2021, we got married. It felt like a fairy tale. Everyone said we were the perfect couple, and honestly I thought we were too. Ryan has been my best friend since we were like 10 years old. We grew up together, went through everything together, the awkward teenage years, first heartbreaks, college applications, everything. He was the best man at my wedding, and I was his when he married his wife, Sarah, a few years before Audrey and I tied the knot. Sarah and Audrey also became good friends, so we were like this tight-knit group of 4. We would hang out all the time, go on double dates, weekend trips, you name it. I genuinely thought we would be friends forever. But things started to change about 6 months ago, maybe a little longer. I started noticing Audrey acting differently. She became more distant, less affectionate. We used to talk about everything, share our days, our worries, our dreams. But suddenly, she became quiet. When I asked her what was wrong, she would just brush it off, say she was tired or stressed at work. Her work had been demanding lately, so I initially bought it. But it kept going on and my gut was telling me something else was up. Then there was Ryan. He started acting weird too. He was always around, which wasn't unusual, but it felt different. He would come over and Audrey would suddenly become very attentive to him, laughing at all his jokes, hanging on his every word. It was like she was trying too hard, you know. And Ryan, he seemed a bit awkward around me. He would avoid eye contact, and our conversations felt forced. It was subtle, but I picked up on it. Looking back, the signs were all there, waving red flags in my face, but I was too blind, or maybe too trusting, to see them for what they were. I just wanted to believe everything was fine. Denial is a powerful thing, Reddit. My mom's birthday was coming up, this past summer actually, in July of 2023. She was turning 60, a big milestone, and my dad was throwing a big party for her at their house. The whole family was going to be there, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. It was supposed to be a happy occasion, a celebration of my mom and our family. But leading up to the party, the tension between Audrey, Ryan, and me was palpable. A few days before the party, I tried to talk to Audrey again. We were in bed, and I just turned to her and asked, "Audrey, is everything okay between us? You have been so distant lately, and I am worried." She sighed and turned away from me. "Timothy, can we not do this right now? I am really tired," she replied. "But Audrey," I persisted, "this has been going on for months. I feel like we are drifting apart." She finally turned back to face me, but her eyes were cold. "Timothy, you are imagining things. I'm just stressed, okay? Can we please just drop it?" I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time I saw a stranger in my wife's eyes. It was like the woman I loved had been replaced by someone else. I felt a knot of dread tighten in my stomach, but I still didn't want to believe the worst. I pushed the thought of infidelity out of my mind. No, Audrey would never do that to me. Ryan would never do that to me. They were my best friend and my wife. It was unthinkable, but the feeling wouldn't go away. The day of the party arrived and I was a nervous wreck. I tried to put on a brave face for my mom, but inside I was a mess. Audrey and I drove to my parents' house together, and the entire car ride was silent. Usually, we would be chatting and laughing, excited to see my family. But this time, it was like we were strangers sharing a car. Ryan was already there when we arrived. He greeted me with a forced smile and a quick pat on the back. He gave Audrey a hug that seemed a little too long, a little too intimate for just friends. I saw it and my heart sank a little further. The party was in full swing. There were about 50 people there, music playing, food everywhere, kids running around. My mom was glowing, surrounded by her loved ones. I tried to focus on her to enjoy the celebration, but I couldn't shake off the unease that was gnawing at me. I kept an eye on Audrey and Ryan. They seemed to be avoiding each other, which, in a twisted way, made me feel a little better. Maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe I was reading too much into things. But then later in the afternoon, I lost sight of them. I was talking to my uncle about something, and when I looked around, Neither Audrey nor Ryan was anywhere to be seen. I figured they were just mingling with other guests, maybe getting drinks or food. But a little voice in my head whispered, "Check it out." I tried to ignore it, but it grew louder and louder until I couldn't ignore it anymore. I started searching for them. I checked the living room, the dining room, the patio, the backyard. No sign of them. Then I remembered my parents had a guest house in the back of the property. It was a small, separate building with a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom. It was usually used for visiting relatives or when my parents wanted some peace and quiet away from the main house. My heart started pounding in my chest. Why would Audrey and Ryan be in the guest house? Unless... I walked towards the guest house, my steps getting heavier with each stride. As I got closer, I noticed the door was slightly ajar. A sliver of light was spilling out from the crack. I hesitated for a moment, my hand hovering over the doorknob. Part of me didn't want to open that door, didn't want to know what was behind it. But another part of me, the part that had been screaming warnings for months, demanded to know the truth. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. And what I saw in that room, Reddit, I will never forget it for as long as I live. There they were, Audrey and Ryan, on the couch, kissing, not just a peck but a full-blown, passionate kiss. His hands were in her hair, her arms were wrapped around his neck. They were so engrossed in each other that they didn't even notice me standing there in the doorway. Time seemed to stop. Everything around me faded away. All I could see were Audrey and Ryan locked in their embrace. My mind went blank. I couldn't think, couldn't speak, couldn't even breathe. It was like I was watching a movie, a nightmare unfolding before my eyes, and I was powerless to stop it. Then finally, Audrey pulled away from Ryan. She turned her head and her eyes met mine. For a split second there was a flicker of surprise, then shock, then horror in her eyes. Ryan turned around too, and his face drained of all color. He looked like he had seen a ghost. Audrey stammered, "Timothy, it is not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. There was no denying it, no explaining it away. I had caught them red-handed. The betrayal, the lies, the months of suspicion, it all came crashing down on me at once. I felt like I had been punched in the gut, winded, unable to speak. I just stood there staring at them, my heart shattered into a million pieces. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring my vision. I wanted to scream, to yell, to break things, but I couldn't. I was numb, paralyzed by the shock and the pain. Finally, I managed to choke out a single word. "Audrey." My voice was barely a whisper, filled with disbelief and agony. She started crying, tears streaming down her face. "Timothy, please let me explain," she pleaded. "Explain what?" I managed to say, my voice shaking. "Explain how you could do this to me. Explain how you could do this with my best friend." Ryan finally found his voice. "Tim, man, I am so sorry," he said, stepping towards me. "Sorry." "Sorry is not going to cut it, Ryan," I spat out, my anger starting to surface. "Sorry for stabbing me in the back. Sorry for betraying my trust. Sorry for sleeping with my wife." My voice rose with each word until I was shouting. The sound of my voice carried through the open door, and suddenly, the music from the party seemed to fade away. My parents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, everyone started turning towards the guest house, drawn by the commotion. Within seconds, the doorway was filled with faces, all staring at us, their eyes wide with curiosity and concern. My mom pushed her way to the front, her face etched with worry. "Timothy, what is going on?" she asked, her voice trembling. And then in front of my entire family, I told them. I told them what I had just witnessed. I pointed at Audrey and Ryan standing shamefaced on the couch, and I said, "I caught them. Together. They are having an affair." The words hung in the air, heavy and toxic. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Silence descended, broken only by Audrey's sobs. My mom rushed to my side, wrapping her arms around me. My dad stepped forward, his face thunderous. "Ryan, I am disgusted in you," he said, his voice low and menacing. "And Audrey, I cannot believe you would do this to my son." The party was officially over. The festive atmosphere evaporated, replaced by tension, shock, and heartbreak. Audrey and Ryan tried to say something, to defend themselves, to explain. But no one was listening. My dad told Ryan to get out of his house and out of our lives. He told Audrey that he was ashamed of her. My uncles and cousins surrounded me, offering words of comfort and support. My aunts glared at Audrey and Ryan with disdain. It was a scene straight out of a soap opera, a public humiliation of epic proportions. I just wanted to disappear. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and utterly betrayed. I wanted to run away and hide somewhere, anywhere, where I didn't have to face the stares, the whispers, the judgment. But I couldn't move. I was rooted to the spot, watching my life unravel before my eyes. My mom pulled me away from the crowd, leading me back to the main house. She sat me down on the patio, brought me a glass of water, and just held my hand. She didn't say anything, just let me cry. And I cried, Reddit. I cried like I hadn't cried since I was a little kid. Years of dreams, hopes, and love washed away with those tears. Audrey and Ryan left shortly after. I don't know what happened to them, where they went, or what they said to each other. I didn't care. All I knew was that my marriage was over, my friendship was over, and my heart was broken. The perfect life I thought I had built had crumbled into dust in a matter of minutes, all thanks to the betrayal of the two people I trusted most in the world. The next few weeks were a blur. I moved out of our apartment and back into my parents' house. My mom took care of me, cooked for me, listened to me, and just let me grieve. My dad was furious, especially with Ryan. He had always liked Ryan, treated him like a son. To find out that Ryan had betrayed me in such a way, it was devastating for him too. Sarah, Ryan's wife, was also completely blindsided by all of this. She called me, crying, apologizing for Ryan's behavior. She said she had no idea, that she was just as shocked and hurt as I was. She ended up leaving Ryan and filing for divorce. So their marriage also blew up because of this. It was a complete mess. I filed for divorce from Audrey. It was a relatively quick and painless process, thankfully. She didn't contest anything. I guess she knew she had messed up big time. We haven't spoken since that day at my mom's party, and honestly, I don't ever want to speak to her again. Or to Ryan. They are both dead to me. It has been a few months now since everything happened. The pain is still there, a dull ache in my chest, but it is starting to fade. I have started seeing a therapist, which has helped a lot. I am slowly rebuilding my life, piece by piece. My friends and family have been incredibly supportive, and I am so grateful for them. I have learned who my true friends are through all of this, and that is something, at least. I never imagined I would go through something like this. Infidelity, betrayal, it always seemed like something that happened to other people, not to me. But it happened, and it was awful. But I am determined to come out of this stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I am learning to trust my gut instincts, to pay attention to the red flags, and to not ignore my intuition. And most importantly, I am learning to love myself again, to heal from the wounds, and to open myself up to the possibility of love again someday, when I am ready. I know this community always gives honest feedback, so let me have it. Was I naive? Should I have seen the signs earlier? Could I have done anything differently? Or was I just a victim of circumstance, caught in the crossfire of someone else's bad choices? Should I just let it go and move on? Any advice or words of wisdom would be appreciated. Update 1. Wow, Reddit, the response to my original post was incredible. Thank you all so much for your kind words, support, and advice. I honestly did not expect so many people to relate to my story and offer such helpful insights. It really means a lot to me during this difficult time. Many of you asked for an update, so here it is. Since my last post, things have been, well, complicated. The divorce from Audrey is finalized. That is officially over, which is a relief in some ways, but also feels incredibly sad. 3 years of marriage gone, just like that. It is hard to believe it all happened. I have been focusing on myself, going to therapy, working out, spending time with friends and family. My therapist has been helping me process my emotions and deal with the trauma of the betrayal. She says it is important to allow myself to grieve the loss of the relationship and to not rush the healing process. She is right, it is a process, and it takes time. One thing that has been particularly challenging is dealing with the aftermath of the party. My family is still very angry with Audrey and Ryan, especially my dad. He has always been a protective father, and seeing me hurt like this has really affected him. He keeps saying he wants to confront Ryan, but I have told him to let it go. There is no point in dwelling on the past. What is done is done. I have also heard through the grapevine that Audrey and Ryan are still together. Apparently, they moved in together shortly after the party. Honestly, I do not know what to make of that. Part of me is disgusted, part of me is just sad for them. If they started their relationship based on lies and betrayal, what kind of foundation is that? I cannot imagine it will last, but who knows? It is their life, their choices. I need to focus on my own life and my own healing. Sarah, Ryan's ex-wife, has reached out to me again. We have been talking on and off, mostly just checking in on each other and sharing our experiences. She is going through a tough time too, dealing with the divorce and the betrayal. We have become unexpected allies in this whole mess. It is strange, but we have found comfort in each other's shared pain. We are not dating or anything like that, just supporting each other as friends. It is nice to have someone who understands exactly what I am going through. Many of you asked if I had any suspicions before the party. Yes, I did. I mentioned in my original post that Audrey had been acting distant and secretive for months. Looking back, there were definitely signs. She was always on her phone, texting and smiling, but she would hide her screen when I came near. She started going out more with her friends, but when I asked who she was with, she would be vague. She lost interest in intimacy, all the classic signs, I guess, but I ignored them. I wanted to believe everything was okay. I loved Audrey and I trusted Ryan. I didn't want to think that they would do something like this to me. I was naive, yes, maybe too trusting, but I don't blame myself for that. I was a good husband, a good friend. Their betrayal is on them, not on me. One piece of advice that really resonated with me from the comments was to focus on the future, not the past. To learn from this experience, but not to let it define me. To forgive myself for not seeing the signs, and to forgive them not for their sake, but for my own peace of mind. Forgiveness is not about condoning their actions. It is about releasing the anger and resentment that is poisoning me. It is a process, and I am working on it. So, what is next for me? I am not sure yet. I am taking things one day at a time. I am focusing on my career, my hobbies, my health, and my relationships with my friends and family. I am open to the possibility of love again someday, but not anytime soon. I need to heal first, to rebuild my trust, and to learn to love and trust myself again. Thank you again for all your support, Reddit. It has been incredibly helpful to share my story and to hear from so many compassionate people. Your comments have given me strength and hope during a very dark time. I will keep you updated on my progress. Update 2. Hey Reddit, it is me again, back with another update. It has been about 6 months since my last post, and things have changed quite a bit. I wanted to share some positive news and some lessons I have learned through all of this. First of all, I am doing much better. The pain of the betrayal is still there sometimes, but it is no longer consuming me. Therapy has been incredibly helpful. I have learned to process my emotions in a healthy way, to set boundaries, and to prioritize my own well-being. I have also learned a lot about myself, about my strengths and weaknesses, and about what I want in a relationship. My relationship with my family is stronger than ever. They have been my rock throughout this whole ordeal. My mom is still my biggest supporter, always there to listen and offer advice. My dad has also softened a bit. He is still angry with Ryan and Audrey, but he is focusing on supporting me and helping me move on. I have also reconnected with some old friends and made some new ones. I have been going out more, doing things I enjoy, like hiking, biking, and playing music. I even joined a local band, which has been a great outlet for my creativity and energy. It is amazing how much better life can be when you surround yourself with positive people and activities. As for Audrey and Ryan, I have not had any direct contact with them, and I have no desire to. However, I have heard through mutual acquaintances that their relationship is already on the rocks. Apparently, they are fighting all the time, and things are not going well. Karma is a real thing, Reddit. I am not happy about their misery, but I am not exactly surprised either. A relationship built on lies and betrayal is not likely to last. Sarah, Ryan's ex-wife, and I have become good friends. We talk regularly, and we have even hung out a few times. We have a lot in common, unfortunately, but we have found comfort and support in each other's company. We are both healing from similar wounds, and we understand each other in a way that no one else can. There is no romantic relationship between us, just a genuine friendship based on mutual respect and understanding. She is a wonderful person, and I am grateful to have her in my life. One of the biggest lessons I have learned from all of this is the importance of trusting your gut instincts. I knew something was wrong for months, but I ignored my intuition. I brushed it off as paranoia or insecurity. I wish I had listened to that little voice inside my head sooner. It was trying to warn me, to protect me. From now on, I will pay attention to my gut feelings and trust my intuition. Another lesson is the importance of communication in a relationship. Audrey and I stopped communicating honestly and openly long before the affair happened. We stopped sharing our feelings, our worries, and our needs. We drifted apart emotionally, which created an opening for someone else to step in. In my next relationship, I will make communication a priority. I will be open, honest, and vulnerable with my partner, and I will encourage them to do the same. And finally, I have learned the importance of self-love and self-respect. I spent too much time focusing on Audrey's needs and desires and not enough time on my own. I lost sight of who I was and what I wanted. I allowed myself to be treated poorly, and I accepted less than I deserved. No more. I now know my worth, and I will never settle for anything less than I deserve. I deserve to be loved, respected, and cherished. And so do you, Reddit. Life is full of ups and downs, challenges and heartbreaks. But it is also full of beauty, joy, and love. Even after going through something as painful as infidelity and betrayal, it is possible to heal, to grow, and to find happiness again. It takes time, effort, and self-compassion, but it is possible. Do not let anyone steal your joy or dim your light. You are strong, you are resilient, and you are worthy of love and happiness. Thank you again for listening to my story and for being such a supportive community. I hope my experience can help someone else going through a similar situation. Remember, you are not alone, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Take care of yourselves, Reddit, and be kind to each other. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.